Die, da 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 die, da 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 die, da 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 die, da da, die, da da dee die, da da dee die, da da dee da. I've been praying for you, my Lord, for the past 12 days. I have been asking the higher powers to help you forgive, let go, and surrender that which is bigger than you, to give you strength, to overcome your own ego and your doubts. Who have I been praying to, you may ask? To love itself, my King. I've been begging love to release you from your own karma and send you guidance and clarity. I've been praying for love to open your heart. You see, my dear Father, I've always had a sort of an internal issue when they kept telling me that you are love. On a very deep subconscious level, it just didn't click with me. While I strongly believed in both you and love as parallel terms, I didn't equate you with love. And it was only when your story surfaced in the past day or so when it all fell into place. You and Lilith, the Garden of Eden and the apple, Adam and I, the veil of suffering and confusion which had been cloaking the facts for thousands of years, magically vanished, making known the tragic but genuine love story behind it. Once upon a time, there was love. And love was everything. Out of love, darkness was created. And love liked what it saw and called it Lilith. Then, out of the darkness, the light was created. Once again, love saw that it was good, and it separated the light from the darkness and called it God. Together, Lilith and God, eternal darkness and light, completed each other, and this miracle of oneness was love itself. As the two of them mated, knowing each other deeper and deeper, Lilith challenged God to expand in order to reveal his light within her and for her. She often teased her lover. "My beloved knight, how can I know that you truly love me? What can you create for me to prove the magic and power of your love for me?" And nothing pleased God more than to be her divine hero and provide for her anything that she desired. 6 times Lilith came and dared God to attest his love to her. "I need a home, a place to dwell and reign," Lilith whispered into God's ear, her long silky hair tickling his neck. And God created for her the earth and the heavens. "I would love to adorn our home with intricate textures and fixtures," Lilith kissed him on the cheek as she gazed into his ardent eyes. And God separated the waters, dried the land, and brought the stars, sun, and moon forward. "I yearn to cook fancy meals for you and to indulge and explore the palette of tastes with you." Lilith smiled, resting her head on God's strong shoulder as they lazed in bed. And God gave the earth the herbs and fruits, each with its own unique taste, seed, and purpose. "We need friends, my dear, to keep us company at dinners and in leisure time." Lilith rubbed her thigh against God's, holding him gently by the chin. And God created animals, fish, birds, angels, fairies, and all other visible and invisible creatures that have filled the earth, water, and the sky. "Make me children, my Lord, as a symbol of our unity." Lilith was suddenly very deep and serious, and as she embraced God's chest, tears of joy and humbleness brought luminosity to her darkness. And God created a man in his own image, male and female, son and daughter. Lilith's final request was the most peculiar of all. "My darling," she started as she was massaging God's feet and anointing them with oil, "you have created such a beautiful world for me. However, while I cherish the opportunity to reveal your blessed light infinitely within myself, as well as to continuously guide all of our children and friends on the same task, I feel that I'm spreading myself very thin between keeping this place in order and tending to everyone's needs. I can't do it alone anymore. Please, create me a helper who would self-regulate the light and the darkness within each one of your creations." And God created Ego. As he stood back to look at his final project, he took such pride and attachment toward his most unusual creation that he decided to not only instill it in every physical and celestial inhabitant that he created, but also inside of himself and Lilith. When Lilith came for the 7th time, she stayed with God to honor her majestic beloved, to make divine love to him, to enjoy the beauty and perfection of everything he has created for her, to express her gratitude and devotion to her soulmate. It was an enchanted moment of complete harmony, male and female, light and dark, and both were connected as a resilient whole of existence. And they could live happily ever after. But sadly, the creations often overpower their creators. As ego grew and strengthened, so did its powers and effects. Slowly, Lilith started to drift away from God, indulging in the endless redecoration of her home, chasing her new friends, experimenting with nature, and spoiling the children. Her ego let her reshuffle her priorities, and God, the ultimate creator of everything she was grossly enjoying, was no longer number one on her priority list. As God grew lonely without Lilith, his ego allowed him to become jealous, suspicious, and nagging. The two of them found themselves in arguments more often than not. The arguments progressed into fights, and the fights morphed into power struggles and competition. That which was intended by ego's original script as a test of unity between two deities turned into a shattering chaos. One night, Lilith came to God for the 8th time and requested proof of his love once again. But God's ego turned everything upside down. "No," God replied impatiently to his bride. "I have created enough for you. It's impossible to satisfy you or to keep you happy. You're just too much for me." "Oh, really?" Lilith's ego threw a tantrum as well. "Well, I think you just can't handle me anymore. And that's the only divine truth around here. And if you have become so weak that you can't be with me as I am, I'm leaving you. I have plenty of friends to entertain myself with, and I don't need a selfish male in my life." And with that, she walked away. God was devastated by Lilith's words and actions. He created the rain and he cried his heart out. And at that pivotal moment, in the heat of some short-lived emotions of grief, he surrendered to his ego. He instantly decided that he would demonstrate to Lilith that he was almighty. He would show her that nothing and no one could come close to the immensity of his powers. At that same sad moment, and as a result of a trick of ego, God forgot that he had been created out of love and convinced himself that he was the most preeminent and supreme entity in the whole universe. He convinced himself that he could control love. To test his new identity, God created another world in which everything was very similar to the world that he had created for Lilith, except for two things. He created the man using the energy of his children, but made him out of dust, and whereas Lilith and her darkness were made first by love in order for God to emerge and shine his light, the woman, in this instance, was created second. Afterward, God gloomily packed up all of his memories about the unity, happiness, and ecstatic sexual joy he had experienced with Lilith in a relationship of true divine love, and he squished all of these keepsakes into the seed of an apple, the fruit on a tree of good and evil, or tree of God and live, effectively erasing Lilith from his aching heart. He then concentrated all of his care and nurturing toward his newly created man and woman, Adam and Eve, trying desperately to protect them from the pain which he had endured himself. He forbade them to eat the fruits from the tree, hoping that they would have been saved from the torture of divine love. When Lilith cooled off and gave her ego a big smack, she desired only one thing: to make peace with God and be one with him again. When she saw God's attentiveness to his new creations, she decided that her only hope to find a way to God's heart again was by revealing the secret of divine love to the man and woman. She thought that through their experience of love, God would soften and surrender to love again. So she turned herself into a snake and goaded Eve into eating from the fruit of the tree. As Eve tasted the apple and shared it with Adam, they both learned the magnitude of heavenly love. But when God found out about their mischief, so many negative emotions rose to the surface that he couldn't cope with their overflow. He became furious with Adam and Eve and their disobedience and Lilith's trickery, and his ego took complete control over him. In his rage, God cursed Eve with pain in childbirth, kicked Adam out of his home, the Garden of Eden, and cast Lilith to earth forever, while he himself decided to occupy the domain of the sky and to never set his foot on the ground. Thus, celestial soulmates, God and Lilith, became separated and never spoke to each other again. There was only one occurrence that God had not anticipated. He could never imagine that Eve, his beloved female creation, the perfected, or simply God-controlled version of Lilith, whom he'd grown very fond of, would choose the man and would follow Adam, leaving God lonely and sobbing for eternity. God never suspected that love would win in the end. When Eve left, God became so upset at love for winning and at ego for triggering him into this whole madness that he removed both of them entirely from the story of creation. He portrayed day one as the work of his own hands, while in all truth love had done it for him. And he never mentioned ego anywhere at all, as it had never existed. There was only one piece of the original story of creation that God could not part with, no matter how hard he tried. He kept the day of rest as a flickering reminder of the time of his delightful unity with his twin flame soulmate, which his mind, his heart, and his soul refused to wipe out. From that point on every Sabbath, God and Lilith have come out of their realms, craving each other, wanting to look at each other in inconsolable silence, remembering the joy and the love they had shared as lovers, friends, and partners, and longing for the kisses and embraces they used to share. I've been burning candles for you and Lilith, my lord. I have cut out a heart from an old white t-shirt, and I split it in half. Next, I took out a red Sharpie and wrote your name and my name on one side, and Adam and Lilith on another side, to simulate the balance of male and female energies. I then sewed the heart back together and placed it in a white envelope with the word unity written on it. I was perplexed by how my name got heavily entangled in the stitches of the heart. How sadly symbolic. I guess it is my destiny to bear the pressure of the stitches and stretches of the relationship between you and Lilith. As I am wrapping up this monologue, I am subsequently burning all Hanukkah candles which I could find in the house, asking you and love for a miracle of divinity, union, love, and passion between you and mine, and between me and my man. I've been fighting for your greatness and in your honor for an eternity, my lord. Unfortunately, till this day, I'm doing it out of emptiness within me, blindly hoping that maybe you will be kind enough to grant me love in recognition of my loyalty throughout the millenniums. This time, though, I want to serve you from a place of fulfillment. That fulfillment is in your hands. They say that you don't allow your best warriors to fail, but in all honesty, I have been failing big time. Please, my father, fill my void. Fill your own void. Whenever I go through a very rough time here on earth, I close my eyes and imagine that I'm on a long bumpy road. I see myself as a little girl in a short skirt with a ponytail on each side of my head, and you and mom on either side of me, each of you holding one of my hands. You're on the left, she's on the right. That undeniable feeling of peace and certainty I experience with both of you holding my hands is still the only force that moves me forward. That feeling is my balanced, clear faith. As tomorrow knocks on the door and brings with it the light of the Passover, the celebration of freedom, I'm begging you on my knees, my Lord, to surrender to love. Adam, Lilith, and I already did that so long ago, and you're the only one left behind. Loosen up. Let yourself receive from a source that is bigger and wiser than you. You are the one who taught me the bliss of being cared for by the upper worlds. Perhaps it's time for you to explore your own upper world blessings. Forgive yourself, my Lord. You have long ago proven to yourself and to Lilith that you are powerful, that you are tough, and this ego battle has outlived its original purpose. Take off your helmet, my God. Tuck in your spear and kick back with sentient pleasure. Come down to talk and to make love to Lilith. Let yourself fall and allow yourself to again be filled to overflowing with love. Lilith misses you dead, just as much as you miss her. Free yourself from the complicated, sick and naughty karma that you created at the beginning of time. Free me Free Adam and free Lilith. Let us all be good. Let us all be alive. And who knows, maybe tomorrow, as you lift the shield of karma to be eliminated forever, my Adam will stroll back into my arms, my heart, and my life, yearning and caring for me as deeply as he did just moments before we parted. Hold my hand and deliver me, my Father. After all, you are and have always been the Almighty Creator, and I will always be your little girl. I'm ready for you, my man of the dark. I'm ready to receive you fully with my whole being for a lifetime to come. Come and claim me. I'm your woman. You're my man. We are given to each other by both the light and the dark forces to unite in perfect unison of spiritual and physical harmony. Come, my beloved. It's time. Amen.
Da 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 da